My clingy girlfriend cared a lot about a sense of ritual. She said, "The first snow is only meaningful if you watch it with the person you love." So, we made a promise. Every year, we would watch the first snow together. However, before the first snow arrived, I came across an expose post while scrolling through social media. The explosive title instantly caught my attention. It read, "To the brother from the physics department at C University waiting to watch the first snow with his girlfriend. You're being cheated on." I clicked on it, and it was an audio recording. The man's voice was a little blurry as he said, "What a pity. I even prepared a surprise for you tomorrow. But since you're going to watch the first snow with that bookworm, I guess I'll just give it to someone else." The girl immediately whined coquettishly. "Fine, I won't go anymore." "Okay. What's the surprise?" The man replied. "You'll find out tomorrow." Then he let out a wicked chuckle and added, "Oh right. Don't forget to wear the new pajamas I bought for you tomorrow." The recording continued. But I was already frozen in place. The university and major matched mine exactly. And that female voice. It was so familiar that it couldn't possibly be anyone else. It seemed my girlfriend had secretly been in a relationship behind my back. Chapter 1. The moment I heard that female voice, my mind went completely blank. My first instinct was denial. Impossible. How could that be possible? No, it couldn't be. Right. How could Willow possibly cheat on me? Our relationship had always been stable, and we had even promised to watch the first snow together every year. In the video, she looked at me with sparkling anticipation as she said, "George, couples who spend the day of the first snow together will stay happy forever. I know you've been really busy lately, so I'm coming to see you instead. Tomorrow I'll wear that matching down jacket we bought together, so you have to wear yours too. Okay, snowy days are the best for taking pictures. I don't even feel like sleeping tonight. I just want tomorrow to come sooner." As she spoke, Willow even sent me a photo of the train ticket she had already bought. She looked completely excited to meet me and enjoy the snowy scenery together. But, could there really be such a coincidence? Another guy waiting to watch the first snow with his girlfriend, and I just happened to be a junior majoring in physics at C University. If all of that could still somehow be dismissed as coincidence, could I really mistake Willow's voice too? The next second, a message from Willow shattered every last bit of wishful thinking I had left. "George, I'm really sorry. Something suddenly came up in the department, and I seriously can't get away tomorrow. I'll definitely make it up to you twice over in a few days. I even bought a new set of pajamas." Just those two messages snapped me completely out of my dazed state. There was no longer any need to keep making excuses to fool myself. The girl in that expose post was Willow. Chapter 2. Taking 2 deep breaths. I forced myself to calm down. Then I listened to the audio recording again. The man's voice wasn't especially clear, but something about his tone and timbre felt strangely familiar. I immediately sent a private message to the person who made the post. First, I introduced myself. I told them I was probably the person being exposed, the boyfriend from C University who had been cheated on. Then I asked if they could describe the situation in more detail. They replied almost instantly, "Bro, I was worried I wouldn't be able to find you. That cheating couple looked all decent on the outside, but they were seriously shameless as hell." Based on the description, the girl was definitely Willow. As for the guy, the poster said, he was about 178 centimeters tall, thin lips, blonde hair, and a scar on his left eyebrow. The other person kept passionately venting on my behalf, saying that if they hadn't been standing so close at the time, they definitely would have snapped a few pictures for me. But honestly, those few descriptions were already enough. A long-forgotten figure surfaced in my mind, Makoto, a mutual high school classmate of both Willow and me. But how could it possibly be him? Just moments ago, I had imagined countless possibilities. Maybe it was one of Willow's seniors or juniors, or perhaps a new friend she met in City A. But never, not even once, had I imagined it would actually be Makoto. Back in high school, he never got along with either Willow or me. I had assumed we would never see each other again after graduation. And yet, somehow, it was him. Chapter 3. Now wasn't the time to sit around confused. I repeatedly thanked the kind stranger who made the post, then quickly found Makoto's social account. Even though I hadn't seen Makoto in over 2 years, we did go to the same high school. Asking around among old classmates wasn't difficult at all. I opened his profile, and there were quite a few surprises waiting for me. His profile picture was actually identical to mine. Willow and I had used our matching couple profile pictures for a long time, but a little over a month ago, Willow suddenly sent me a new matching icon and asked me to change it. At the time, she told me she had specially commissioned someone to design it for us. Without thinking much about it, I changed mine. Looking back now, she probably wanted to use matching profile pictures with her new boyfriend, but didn't want me catching on, so she simply had me switch to the exact same icon as Makoto. Then I noticed something else. His IP location matched Willow's. So Makoto had also been living in a city during college, even after graduation. Whenever I casually brought him up in conversation a few times, Willow always acted clueless, like she couldn't care less about the guy. Not a single crack in her act. And finally, 15 minutes ago, Makoto posted a new status. First snow, fried chicken, beer, and of course, a girlfriend who lights my cigarettes for me. Someone with the same IP location commented, "Damn, your girl lighting your cigarettes for you. Relationship buffs maxed out. That disgusting sweet couple energy is all over the first snow today. So where are you two lovebirds celebrating?" Makoto replied with the name of a restaurant where the average spending per person easily hit 4 digits. While basking in everyone's envy and compliments, he even threw in a smug emoji. Chapter 4. When the truth slammed into me head-on. I finally understood that when someone is speechless enough, they really do laugh instead. H-City was very close to a city. The high-speed rail only took a little over an hour. After buying my ticket, I also made a reservation at that same restaurant. The next day, in the freezing winter wind, I saw the scene of Makoto and my girlfriend enjoying the season's first snow together. Chapter 5. Willow whined cutely for him to carry her bag. Makoto wrapped an arm around her waist indulgently, grinning playfully as he whispered something into her ear while they walked toward the restaurant entrance. Oh, right. The clothes they were wearing looked awfully familiar. They were our matching couple down jackets. I'd wondered why Willow suddenly bought me a new down jacket before. Now I guessed it was the same trick as the profile pictures. Makoto probably bought the matching jackets for her, but she was afraid I'd search the brand and discover they were a couple set. So she bought one for me too and mailed it over. At that moment, to avoid being recognized, I deliberately dressed like every other college student in winter, a long black padded coat, a huge face mask, and a thick scarf. I looked like some dim background NPC in their little romance fantasy. I took a seat in the booth behind them. The same Willow, my childhood sweetheart, who always claimed she lacked security, who constantly clung to me, depended on me, and acted inseparable from me, was now leaning against another man's chest on the other side of a tall booth divider, flirting and laughing with him. The next second, my phone, set to silent, lit up with a new message. Willow texted, "Hubby, what are you doing? Did you go out to see the first snow today?" Even in a situation like this, she still found time to message me. When Makoto saw Willow sending the text, he let out a mocking laugh. "Haha, Willow, you're unbelievable. George still thinks you're some innocent good girl. If he knew you were sending him messages while sitting in my arms, he'd probably cough up blood from anger." Willow shot Makoto an annoyed glare. Yet she still stayed curled up in his embrace, only lightly punching his chest in a token protest, pouting. Her eyes filled with both grievance and a hint of sulking sweetness. Willow said, "I already spent the whole day with you today, and you're still talking about me like that." Chapter 6. I lifted my coffee cup and took a sip of the rich brew, but even that couldn't suppress the wave of disgust rising in me. A mocking smile tugged at my lips as I replied, "No, watching the first snow only means something when you're with the person you love, right?" Willow replied almost instantly, "Sorry, hubby, things in the department really couldn't be avoided. Maybe when people feel guilty, they instinctively overcompensate by saying and doing more." She even snapped a photo of the snowy scenery outside the floor-to-ceiling window and sent it to me. "This is the snowfall in a city. Hubby, I'll study hard and make sure I get into your university for graduate school. Then we can watch the first snow together every year from now on." Makoto raised an eyebrow, grabbed Willow by the chin, and kissed her, drawing a soft gasp from her lips. Taking the opportunity, he snatched her phone away and locked the screen. Laughing, he said, "What's even fun about dating a nerd like George? We're already in college, and all he does every single day is study. Then he acts all sentimental over snow like some clueless idiot. Seriously, that's pathetic." Willow's tone turned noticeably colder. "Shut up. What gives you the right to talk about George like that? Oh, you mad now?" Seeing her expression darken, Makoto tapped the tip of her nose and coaxed her playfully. All right, my bad. I won't say stuff like that anymore, okay?" Willow finally relaxed a little and huffed softly. "You're one to talk. Aren't you the one who brought me here to see the snow too?" Makoto laughed, lowering his head close to her ear. He whispered softly, "The thing I really wanted to see was never the first snow, but..." The last few words were too quiet to hear clearly. I could only vaguely make out something about battle lingerie. Willow's face instantly turned red, biting her lip. She muttered, "In your dreams, who would wear that for you?" Completely unhurried, Makoto pulled out a small box from his pocket and sighed dramatically. "Well, that's too bad. This necklace would have matched the outfit perfectly, but if you don't want it." On the red velvet box, the Cartier logo gleamed brilliantly. Willow's eyes lit up immediately, her hand practically reaching out on instinct. But just before she could touch it, Makoto pulled the box back and grinned teasingly. Then tell me this, between me and George, who's more fun to be around? Willow pursed her lips and huffed. You. Okay, it's you. Now give it to me already. Makoto looked at her with amusement, the corner of his lips curling into a victorious smile. Then why stay here watching snow? Let's head back to the room and take our time instead. Under Makoto's persistent coaxing, Willow finally stood up with half-hearted resistance. I stopped the recording on my phone and followed behind them through the crowded streets, keeping just enough distance not to be noticed. After walking for about 2 blocks, I raised my phone and snapped a picture of them embracing as they entered the hotel together. Chapter 7. On the unfamiliar streets of a city. The cold pierced straight through to the bone. Knowing something was true was one thing. Seeing it with my own eyes was another entirely. The pain I had been forcing down ever since I first saw them could no longer be contained. Sharp stabs of agony tore through my chest as the emotions erupted violently inside me. Willow's back looked unbearably unfamiliar. I could have called out to them right then, rushed over, taught them a lesson, and ended everything on the spot had Willow forgotten. Back then, when Makoto mocked and humiliated her without restraint, calling her a gold digger and saying she was dating me just to marry up, it was me who stood up for her. I'd rather take disciplinary punishment than hold myself back. I rushed forward and fought Makoto for her sake. And today, I heard with my own ears how casually they treated me like gossip, judging and laughing at me, turning me into part of their twisted little game. My protection of her had become the blade used to stab myself in the back. My sincerity had become a complete and utter joke. In the end, I took one last deep look at the two of them holding hands as they stepped into the elevator. Then I stomped my feet to shake off the numbness from the cold and walked away without looking back. Someone who tramples on another person's genuine feelings like this doesn't deserve a clean or dignified ending. If there was one wish I had for this year's first snow, it was that Willow would one day taste the same pain. No, something far worse. Only then would it be fair. Chapter 8. On the train back to H City. The scenery outside the window flashed past at high speed. I stared blankly into the distance, lost in thought. Back in 8th grade, Willow became my neighbor. The moment she moved in, she instantly became the center of attention for the entire grade. There were 3 reasons for that. She was beautiful. Her mother had a horrible temper and constantly beat and screamed at her. And her family was very poor. I still remember classmates describing her as a gorgeous flower blooming out of barren soil. There were only the 2 of them in the household, mother and daughter. No one had ever seen Willow's father. Many times, I could hear her mother shrieking inside their apartment. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, your father would never have abandoned me. Little by little, the rumors began spreading everywhere. People said Willow's mother had been a rich man's mistress, and after the wife discovered the affair, the mother and daughter were kicked out with nothing. Branded as the mistress's daughter, Willow had a miserable time at school. At home, she lived under her mother's constant pressure and verbal abuse. Her way of fighting back was to completely give up on herself. One time, she was being bullied in the alley behind the school by a group of girls who despised her background. When I found her, her cheek was swollen red, her whole body bruised and battered as she lay there alone on the ground. I bought disinfectant and bandages for her. She lifted her eyelids to look at me. Those beautiful phoenix-shaped eyes of hers were cold and empty as she said, "You know I'm an illegitimate daughter, don't you? Why are you helping me?" As I dabbed disinfectant onto her wounds, I shook my head. "You can't choose your parents or the circumstances of your birth." Her eyelashes trembled suddenly. After her injuries healed, she told me that her mother actually wasn't a mistress. It was her father who later fell for a wealthy woman who could help his career rise higher, and he abandoned both mother and daughter without hesitation. Her eyes reddened as she asked softly, "Would you believe me if I told you that?" I nodded. Her eyes lit up for a brief moment, only to dim again soon after. In a quiet voice, she said, "With a scumbag father and a vicious mother, do you think I'm pathetic? If I had a choice, I wish I'd never been born." I fell silent for a few seconds before finally saying, "You do have a choice. Your parents are your parents. You are you. You can still work hard and build a good life for yourself in the future." I still remember the sunset that day, just like the rekindled hope shining once more in the young girl's eyes. Chapter 9. From that day on, I became Willow's best friend, and perhaps her only friend. Her mother was consumed by the sorrow of being abandoned, while also clinging to the fantasy that the men who left them would someday soften his heart and come back. Because of that, Willow's life became unbearably difficult, both financially and emotionally. So back then, I often invited Willow over to my house for meals, and even though she herself barely had enough to eat, she would still save the little treats she had and bring them to me. She brought me water after basketball practice. She packed an extra umbrella for me on rainy days. Even when I only took one day off school because of a minor cold, she rushed over specifically to bring me medicine, acting even more worried than my own mom. At the same time, Willow stopped giving up on herself and started studying seriously again. And it was around then that Makoto transferred into our school. He had excellent grades, came from a wealthy family, and was extremely handsome. At a time when everyone else was buried in textbooks looking exhausted and disheveled, a rich second-generation kid like him, getting picked up and dropped off in luxury cars every day, naturally became one of the most talked-about people in school the moment he arrived. Still, some classmates would say, "So what if he's rich? He still can't beat George academically." Honestly, comments like that weren't worth paying attention to. A laugh and shrug would have been enough. But Makoto unilaterally decided to treat me as his mortal rival. The calmer I stayed, the more irritated he became. Unfortunately for him, my family situation wasn't bad either. So all of his passive-aggressive remarks landed on empty air. I genuinely didn't care. And so, Willow became the weak spot he targeted instead. He said, "Bro, so what if your grades are good? I heard you and Willow are pretty close. Ha ha ha. Everyone knows she's an illegitimate daughter abandoned by her own father. What kind of decent person could a mistress's daughter possibly be? People like her are born trashy." In that instant, rage exploded inside me. A guy who rarely even argued loudly with others normally. I rushed forward and kicked him straight in the back of the knee. Amid the shocked screams of our classmates, the two of us started fighting, and by the end we were both injured. That day wasn't just the first time I'd ever fought a classmate. It was also the first time I'd ever had to read a self-criticism statement over the school broadcast system. But even if I could go back and do it all over again, I would still make the same choice. Willow held onto me while rolling a warm boiled egg over the bruise at the corner of my mouth. She said, "Someone like Makoto isn't worth bothering with. He's just a clown jumping around trying to get attention." I hissed in pain and replied, "But I just can't stand hearing him talk about you like that." And now, the boomerang from more than 3 years ago had come flying straight back into my forehead. The person I fought so hard to protect had joined hands with the very person who humiliated her back then, and together, they stabbed me brutally in the back. So in the end, I was the real clown all along. Chapter 10. I never found out exactly when Willow and Makoto started secretly getting involved with each other, but it wasn't like I noticed nothing at all about the changes in her. She was smart, even though she had wasted so much time before and fallen far behind academically. Once she became serious, her grades improved at an astonishing pace. In order to get into the same university as me, she worked so hard that even the teachers were amazed by her progress. Unfortunately, before the college entrance exams, the father who had disappeared for years suddenly came looking for them again. Because of that, Willow and her mother got into a massive fight. For several nights in a row, the neighbors could hear her mother crying hysterically in the middle of the night. Willow shouted, "I don't care about his damn money, and I don't acknowledge him as my father either. I'm not going back with him." Her mother screamed back, "Not going back? Have you lost your mind? After all these years, your father finally came back for us. Let's see who still dares call me a mistress or call you an illegitimate daughter now. Willow, are you trying to drive me to my death?" The argument affected Willow's college entrance exam performance. Her score ended up more than 30 points lower than her final mock exam results. There was no way she could get into C University with me anymore. She insisted on randomly choosing any university in the same city as mine, but I stopped her. In the end, after consulting with admissions counselors, she chose a university in a city, which was close to H City, and she and her mother were taken back into her father's household. During that period, she met many new friends and was introduced into a social circle she had never even dared dream about before. Luxury brands, sports cars, VIP rooms in designer boutiques, handbags worth hundreds of thousands, credit cards swiped casually without the slightest hesitation. Following those rich socialites and heiresses around, she truly saw for the first time what people called the glamorous upper-class lifestyle. Once, when she was talking to me about how extravagant high society was, I jokingly asked her how it felt to become a rich young lady herself, but she shook her head. There wasn't even a trace of happiness in her eyes as she said, "Do you really think my father suddenly awakened some kind of paternal love? The Liu family is about to go bankrupt. He only remembered he had a daughter like me because he wanted to use a marriage alliance with the Bai family to climb higher." Of course, Willow had no intention of accepting that arrangement, so when the marriage alliance failed, her father completely tore off his fake mask of being a loving parent. The moment she lost her value to him, he showed no mercy at all and directly kicked both mother and daughter out of the Liu household. He even declared that from that day forward, he was cutting ties with them completely. They would have nothing to do with the Liu family ever again, and neither of them should expect to spend another cent of Liu family money. When Willow told me this, she rolled her eyes dramatically and said, "As if I actually care about his money. George, I'm definitely getting into C University for graduate school. Then we'll work hard together and build a future that belongs to us." She had always remembered the promise we made back then, and I believed her. But in the end, She became the one who broke that promise. The dazzling luxury she kept insisting she didn't care about had still left its mark on her heart after all. At first, she still frequently shared her study progress with me. She told me every little detail about her daily life too. The clouds in the sky, the cats near the library, even the cafeteria ladies shaking soup ladle. But gradually, the things she shared with me began to change. There was less and less about studying, more and more about parties. She started frequently mentioning which roommate had bought a new designer bag, or whose boyfriend casually gifted a necklace worth over 100,000. She began envying the luxury brands her friends wore, and whenever the gifts I gave her didn't perfectly match her expectations, she would start giving me the cold shoulder over the smallest things. Thinking about it now, it's no surprise. Someone else was buying her haute couture luxury goods, taking her to high-end places, and surrounding her with a glamorous world. Expecting her to still pretend she hadn't changed at all was probably asking too much. Chapter 11. Early the next morning, right at the exact time we always sent each other our daily greetings, Willow messaged me as usual. Good morning. After 5 or 6 minutes passed without a reply from me, she sent another message. Did you see the snow photo I sent you yesterday? It was such a shame I couldn't watch the first snow with you. Hubby, I'm sorry. I didn't want that either. So wronged. So wronged. So wronged. I enlarged the photo and couldn't help letting out a mocking laugh. She had taken it facing the restaurant's floor-to-ceiling window, obviously terrified that Makoto's reflection might accidentally appear in the glass, so she deliberately chose an angle that perfectly blocked him out. But what she didn't realize was that in the lower right corner, there was a blurry, almost unnoticeable silhouette. It was me, wearing a black padded coat, the new lover and the old lover, both captured in the same picture. The photo was absurdly laughable. At this hour, Willow was most likely still lying in bed at the hotel with Makoto. Maybe she was even sending me these messages while curled up in his arms. Just imagining the scene made me sick enough to lose my appetite entirely. I wanted to ignore her, but she called me. I declined it. Then she called again. In the end, I brushed her off with a single reply. Busy. She immediately texted back. But I remember your class schedule. You don't have classes this morning though. I stopped responding and focused on my own things instead. Chapter 12. Sensing my coldness, Willow kept sending me messages throughout the entire day. Every now and then, the little library cat that hadn't been mentioned in over 2 months suddenly reappeared in our chat again. The cafeteria lady in dining hall 3 still had the same shaky serving hand. One portion of garlic sprout stir-fry with meat somehow ended up being all garlic sprouts and no meat. That difficult professional textbook she once complained was impossible to get through had been picked up again today, and she even wrote a page and a half of study notes. But none of it moved me in the slightest anymore. It felt like giving someone a cotton coat in summer or a fan in winter. Completely unnecessary and painfully performative. After being ignored by me for an entire day, Willow finally video called me that evening. Her voice sounded aggrieved and cautious as she asked, "Were you busy all day today?" I nodded. "Yeah, about yesterday." Before she could finish, I interrupted her directly. "I know you had department stuff to deal with. I understand." She choked on her words for a moment, and I stayed silent too. The silence between us carried an awkwardness that had never existed before. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, just about to speak again, but I didn't give her the chance. "I'm hanging up. My roommates are coming back." The moment I ended the call, her messages started flooding in one after another. "Hubby, are you mad at me? In a few days it'll be our anniversary. I bought several new sets of sleepwear. Want a little spoiler preview in advance. Love you, love you." There were still 4 days left until Sunday. During those few days, I remained distant and cold. Willow could clearly feel how hurt I was, but she refused to give up. She kept sending me suggestive photos that revealed just enough skin to leave things to the imagination. Sunday was our relationship anniversary, but when a relationship has already rotted from the inside out, wasn't celebrating an anniversary nothing more than a joke? Chapter 13. So on that day, I decided to go see the spacetime physics exhibition I'd been looking forward to for ages. At 7:40 in the morning, I left right on schedule. The moment I got into a taxi, Willow, who had rushed over on the earliest high-speed train, arrived downstairs at my dorm. "Hubby, come downstairs." Without hesitation, I turned off my phone. Beneath the exhibition hall's holographic interactive displays, I immersed myself in the breathtaking vastness of the universe. I didn't turn my phone back on until 4 in the afternoon. Besides Willow's 99+ messages and missed calls, my roommate had also sent me several texts. "Bro, this cheating girl is hilarious. I told her you went to the exhibition early this morning and she still didn't believe me. She's been waiting downstairs at the dorm all day. Looks like she hasn't even eaten anything. She keeps messing with her phone nonstop, probably going crazy trying to find you. Maybe you should at least answer one of her calls." I almost froze to death just going downstairs to grab takeout. Honestly, She looks kinda pitiful. He even sent a photo taken from the dorm balcony. I couldn't see her face clearly, but the hands exposed outside her sleeves were frozen bright red from the cold. Even though I had already told my roommates Willow cheated on me, seeing her wait outside all day in the freezing weather still made them feel a little sorry for her. I quickly replied, "A white knight is even more pathetic than a simp." My roommate was speechless. Then I added, "See that matching couple down jacket she's wearing? She wore that exact outfit while cuddling with that guy watching the first snow." My roommate instantly replied, "Holy shit, that dumb bitch can freeze to death for all I care." By the time I finally appeared downstairs at the dorm, it looked like even Willow's eyelashes had frozen over with a thin layer of frost. The first snowfall had lasted for 2 straight days, and now it was the bitterly cold period after the snow stopped, the kind of cold that seeped into your bones. When Willow saw me, her jaw was practically stiff from the cold as she spoke. "George, your roommate said you went to the exhibition." I nodded. "Yeah, I've wanted to see it for a long time, and I happened to be free today." Shock spread across her face at how calm and indifferent I sounded. Even her voice trembled slightly. Do you know what day today is? You didn't seriously forget, did you?" I looked at her silently without answering. She took my silence as confirmation. All the grievance, disappointment, and anxiety she had bottled up over the past few days exploded at once. I could even see tears glimmering faintly in her eyes. Choking back sobs, she said, "How could you forget such an important day? I spent so much effort preparing for today. I came all this way just so we could happily celebrate our anniversary together." I told her not to get worked up and casually brushed it off. "It's just an anniversary. There are tons of holidays and special occasions every year anyway. Worst case, I'll make it up to you next time." There wasn't the slightest hint of coaxing or apology in my tone. Pain overflowed across her face. She stepped forward and threw herself into my arms, voice trembling as she cried, "George, what's been wrong with you lately? I know standing you up that day was my fault, but I didn't want that either. Why do you keep treating me like this?" Heh. I really wanted to ask her whether all this acting was exhausting. Last night, I'd already seen a post on Makoto's account. Because Willow was coming to H-City to celebrate our anniversary with me, he posted, "Some people can only eat another man's leftovers. Too bad. One phone call from me and she'll come running back, then he won't even get the leftovers." He even included the initials of my name in the mockery. My roommate said she kept fiddling with her phone nonstop while waiting downstairs, supposedly desperately trying to contact me. But she was probably flirting with Makoto while searching for me too, wasn't she? I pushed lightly against her shoulders, but she rested her head against mine and refused to move. She looked utterly pitiful, heartbroken, remorseful, desperately begging for forgiveness. "Willow, don't keep acting for so long that even you start believing the performance yourself." Chapter 14. At that moment, Willow's phone started ringing. I could feel her body stiffen slightly. "Answer it," I urged. She still didn't move, mumbling softly, "I don't want to. I just want to stay like this with you." But the person on the other end was persistent. When she didn't answer, they kept calling again and again. I clicked my tongue impatiently. "Just pick up already. If you keep refusing, I'm gonna start thinking you're scared to answer it." The breathing against my neck suddenly faltered. Willow was nervous. Realizing she couldn't dodge it anymore, she finally straightened up and took out her phone. At that moment, we looked exactly like two opponents hiding our own secrets from each other. Willow was terrified that the caller might be Makoto. She had probably already prepared herself to instantly reject the call and turn off her phone if it really was him. As for me, I was hoping for the exact opposite, because then I could enjoy watching Willow desperately scramble to cover herself up. Unfortunately, Makoto had someone else place the call for him. It was one of Willow's friends. The moment Willow saw the name on the screen, the corners of her lips visibly lifted in relief. To prove her innocence, she even deliberately turned on speakerphone. The girl on the other end said, "Willow, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you answering your phone? Maria got discharged from the hospital. Everyone's getting together tonight, and you're the only one missing." Without hesitation, Willow immediately refused. "Can't make it. I came to see my boyfriend." "Bye." The other girl quickly replied. "Wait, don't hang up. We know you and your boyfriend are all lovey-dovey, but aren't you being a little too love-struck? Maria getting discharged is a huge deal. You can see your boyfriend anytime." Willow snorted softly. "So what if I'm love-struck? Sounds like you're just jealous because I have a husband. You're so annoying. Stop interrupting our couple time." After hanging up, Willow looked at me like a child waiting to be praised. I asked her, "Who's Maria?" Willow answered, "A friend I met through group hangouts. She got into a car accident a while ago." A lot of things really had changed without me realizing it. Back then, Willow used to share every tiny detail of her life with me. Now, this friend she apparently spent so much time with, I'd never even heard the name before. Willow clearly realized that too and hurriedly tried to smooth things over. I smiled faintly. giving her the first genuinely pleasant expression I'd shown her in days. Then I said, "You know, forgetting our anniversary really was my fault. Your friend invited you so sincerely. You should go." She shook her head so hard it looked like a bobblehead toy. "No, I want to stay with you." I kept smiling. "Then I'll go with you. I want to know more about your life too." Willow instantly looked overwhelmed with surprise and happiness, her eyes lighting up immediately. "Really, hubby? You've been ignoring me for days. I thought you were going to break up with me." I was seriously miserable. I didn't respond to that. I simply said, "Come on, I'll book the tickets." Didn't Makoto say he could call Willow back anytime he wanted? Then I'd personally send her back to him myself. Chapter 15. Willow chatted non-stop with me the entire way there, but the moment we entered the private room for the gathering, the smile on her face instantly turned deathly pale. Inside, the group of men and women were playing truth or dare in complete chaos. One man lounged around comfortably with women in both arms. One girl had lost so badly she was down to a single layer of revealing clothing. Another couple was grinding against each other provocatively right in front of everyone while the crowd cheered them on. The whole scene was a complete mess. Amid the noisy laughter and shouting, Willow grabbed my arm and immediately tried to turn around and leave, acting as if we had walked into the wrong room by mistake. But the very next second, "Willow, where are you going?" A girl stopped her, then turned toward me and blinked curiously. "So you're George? Wow, you really are handsome. No wonder Willow talks about you non-stop every single day." Then she quickly added, "Ah, George, don't misunderstand. They're just messing around. We're not usually like this." Willow brushed away the girl's hand from her arm and said unhappily, "What kind of joke is this supposed to be? If my husband misunderstands, I won't be able to clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River." Instantly, everyone in the room burst into teasing laughter aimed at me while greeting me enthusiastically, although it was supposed to be a group gathering. After introducing me to a few close friends, Willow immediately transformed into an affectionate clingy girlfriend and stayed glued to my side the entire time. She hugged my arm tightly and refused to let go, chatting with me non-stop with smiling eyes, as if I were the only person left in the entire room. When she started speaking in a deliberately sweet, spoiled tone, asking me to peel oranges for her, the girl named Maria finally groaned dramatically. "Willow, aren't you being a little too much? I just got out of the hospital after lying in bed for over half a month, and all you care about is talking to George." Willow tossed an orange at her. "Well, duh. I only came because George wanted me to. Otherwise I wouldn't even be here today." Someone immediately started egging things on, raising a glass as they shouted, "Then this toast has to go to George. If George hadn't spoken up, there's no way we could have gotten our princess here tonight. George, cheers." Smiling faintly, I raised my glass and drank with everyone. After sitting there a while longer, I told Willow that I was a little tired today and wanted to head back to the hotel first to rest. Willow instantly stood up, insisting on leaving with me. I grabbed her wrist lightly. "Hey, don't ruin everyone's fun. Stay and hang out with them a little longer." Still fussing over me non-stop, she asked anxiously, "You coughed earlier. Are you catching a cold? Are you feeling sick somewhere?" "Forget it. I should go back with you." Amused, I gently pushed her back toward the private room door. "It's not that serious. I'll be fine after I rest a bit." Only then did Willow reluctantly stay behind, but I didn't actually leave. Instead, I went to the restroom first, then quietly sat down in a hidden corner sofa nearby where no one would notice me. The real show was about to begin. Chapter 16. The game they had paused halfway through, the intimate dancing that had been interrupted earlier, all of it quickly resumed amid loud music, cheering, and drunken excitement. Very soon, Makoto arrived, dressed impeccably, an expensive watch gleaming on his wrist. He pushed open the private room door with his chin slightly raised in confidence. The moment he entered, he immediately pulled the woman who came out to greet him into his arms and led her back inside. It was Willow. The room instantly erupted into noisy cheers and teasing whistles. One of the girls laughed and said, "You almost scared me to death just now, Willow. I swear I used up the best acting skills of my entire life for you." Willow complained irritably. "Are you insane? I already texted everyone in advance while I was in the car and told you not to mess around. You're lucky I'm not yelling at all of you right now." Someone grinned mischievously and said, "Sis-in-law, you can't blame us for this. Makoto was the one who told us to do it. Why don't you yell at him instead?" Makoto clicked his tongue lazily. "Yeah, I told them to do it. I said if I didn't want you celebrating your anniversary, then there was no way you'd get to celebrate it. Ha ha ha. Makoto's a beast. Kiss her, kiss her. Come on, kiss." A burst of suggestive noises followed. Disgusting. Seriously disgusting. I steadied my emotions and picked up my phone, sending Willow a message. "After thinking about it, it feels kinda rude not to join you guys when it's such a rare chance to meet your friends. I bought a cake for everyone. I'll be there soon. Suddenly, a loud, sharp slap echoed from inside the room, through the small crack left in the half-open door. I saw Willow's face change dramatically after reading my text. She hurriedly tried pushing away Makoto, who had been all over her moments earlier, but Makoto was clearly too caught up in the mood already. No matter how much she struggled, he refused to let go. Panicking, Willow slapped him across the face, and just like that, the real drama began. Willow herself looked shocked by what she'd done. Voice trembling, she said, "I'm sorry, Makoto, just go already, George is coming." Makoto pressed his tongue against the inside of his cheek, his gaze darkening slightly, then he let out a cold laugh. "Willow, think carefully before you say that. Sure, I can leave, but the moment I walk out that door, you can kiss your glamorous little lifestyle goodbye. Can you really bear that?" Willow stayed silent, frantically fixing the clothes he had messed up. Seeing the situation, one of Willow's friends tried persuading her. "Honestly, Willow, why not just use this chance to come clean and break up with him already?" Several of Makoto's friends immediately chimed in. "Exactly. Dump him and officially get together with Makoto already. That nerd boyfriend of yours looks like such a loser anyway. How could some broke-ass loser compare to our Makoto?" But before he could finish, slap, Willow struck him across the face, biting her lip. She snapped, "Get out." Then she pointed furiously at the rest of Makoto's friends. "All of you get out too." Arguments, shouting, insults, the entire room descended into chaos. Soon after, Makoto slammed the door and stormed out, his friends following behind him. While hurriedly telling the staff to clean up the tables as fast as possible, Willow frantically typed across her phone screen, "Hubby, are you almost here? I'll come downstairs and wait for you." I replied casually, "Forget it. I don't think I'll come after all. You guys have fun." Willow froze. Shock and disappointment spread across her face instantly. Several already annoyed friends couldn't help complaining, "So we got played for nothing." Another person said bitterly, "Makoto was the one who paid for this whole setup because of you. Fine if you don't appreciate it, but then you even kicked him out." Willow, "I'll call Makoto and ask him to come back. Just apologize to him." At the exact same moment, I called Willow. Without hesitation, she immediately hung up on the other person and answered my call. "Hubby, what's wrong?" I sighed softly. "Honestly, it's not that I don't want to come. I just feel like your friends don't really like me very much." She replied instantly, "How could that be? But if being around them makes you uncomfortable, then let's just go on a date by ourselves instead," leaving behind the visibly unhappy crowd. Willow hurriedly rushed out after me. Chapter 17. Watching that flushed, breathless girl run toward me. For a brief moment, it felt as though we had returned to the past. We walked through the streets of a city eating roasted sweet potatoes. We played claw machines, and I won countless Doraemon dolls she loved. We even went to a late-night movie together. We deliberately turned off our phones so nobody could interrupt us. When midnight arrived and the movie ended, Willow buried herself in my arms and said, "Hubby, I feel so happy. Thank you for staying with me. Can every anniversary we spend together in the future be this happy too?" Smiling faintly, I nodded. The past 24 hours had been filled with twists, drama, and emotional whiplash. Without question, it was the most unforgettable anniversary Willow had ever experienced. But Willow, there would be no future anymore. This was our last anniversary. Chapter 18. Probably because she thought everything had finally been resolved. Willow's happiness was obvious to the naked eye, but someone else definitely wasn't happy. For Makoto, that night counted as a humiliating disaster. He deleted the post he had made. With his personality, there was no way he could just swallow that quietly. So I waited patiently. On the third day after I returned to H-City, he added me on WeChat using the exact same profile picture as mine. The moment I accepted, he sent, "Top student, enjoying the matching couple icon I picked out for you." But what can you do? One word from me and your girlfriend immediately changes the matching icon. Since you like this one so much, you can keep using it yourself now. Ha ha ha. Clown. Right after that, he changed his profile picture first. At a glance, it was obviously part of a matching couple set. 1 minute later, Willow, who had still been sweetly talking on the phone with me at noon, changed hers to the corresponding female version. Then my WeChat notification rang. Willow sent me a screenshot of Makoto's new icon and said, "Hubby, let's switch to matching profile pictures, this one's so cute." She used the exact same trick again. It was genuinely nauseating. That was what I thought. And exactly what I replied. "Makes me sick." Willow immediately asked, "Hubby, what's wrong?" I replied, "I mean, it's so childish it's disgusting." Her chat box stayed stuck on typing. Clearly, my sudden disgust had completely caught her off guard. Finally, she replied, "Okay, maybe it is a little childish. Then hubby, you pick one instead." "I'll like whatever you choose," I replied. "No time." Honestly, I think this new icon suits you pretty well already. Just keep it. After sending that, I changed my own profile picture to an image of the double-slit experiment. Maybe Willow's so-called love also had wave-particle duality. The moment you observed it too carefully, it collapsed into an ugly, unbearable mess. Chapter 19. The moment Willow realized I had even stopped using our old matching couple profile pictures, she panicked. She hurriedly switched hers back immediately. Hubby, if you don't like the new one, then let's both switch back to the old one. Okay. I ignored her. Even after bringing it up several times with no response from me, Willow kept whining and coaxing me over the phone. Hubby, just change it back, please. I closed the reference book in my hands and asked coldly. Can you stop already? Aren't you tired of this? Besides obsessing over some stupid profile picture, do you seriously have nothing else to do? Willow's breathing paused. The chill in my words clearly hurt her. She sniffled softly, and when she spoke again, her voice carried obvious grievance. I just think that since we're a couple, using matching profile pictures makes us feel closer. Every time I look at your physics experiment profile picture now, I feel weirdly empty inside. Hearing that, I stared into her eyes through the screen and let out a cold laugh. So whenever you see a matching couple icon, you automatically feel close and intimate with that person. Willow avoided my gaze. Her guilt finally made her too afraid to keep pushing the profile picture topic. Instead, she changed the subject. I have my last exam next Monday. When do you finish yours? Let's go home together. I shook my head. My parents are taking annual leave. We're going traveling to South City and won't be back until before New Year. South City? Why didn't you tell me? Pouting, Willow complained playfully. Do you not love me anymore? You're not even taking me on vacation with you. At that moment, my roommate pushed open the dorm door. The second he saw Willow on the screen, he gritted his teeth and muttered a curse under his breath. Then, pretending something urgent had come up, he urged me to hang up quickly. I went along with it naturally, waving casually at Willow. It's not convenient right now. Talk later. Then I hung up. Chapter 20. On the day vacation started, she headed north while I flew south. We boarded planes going in completely opposite directions. Every day, my parents and I wore short sleeves while enjoying sunshine, beaches, and the rare chance to relax on holiday. Even the heaviness in my heart gradually eased quite a bit. One afternoon, while resting beneath a beach umbrella, I calmly told my parents about Willow cheating on me. My mom looked at me with heartache and said indignantly, I honestly thought that girl was pretty good before, obedient, sensible. I even thought you were lucky to have her. But honestly, genes don't lie. She's exactly like her mother. Neither of them are any good. My dad let out a quiet sigh. Life is like a battlefield. When you're charging forward, you can't hand your back over to someone like that. Finding out early and separating now is a good thing. From that day on, whenever Willow called, my parents spoke to her politely but coldly. Eventually, Willow started sounding uneasy and asked me cautiously, is it just me, or do Uncle and Auntie seem kinda unhappy with me lately? I told her she was overthinking things. After thinking about it for a moment, she nodded. I guess so. Uncle and Auntie have always treated me really well. They like me so much. Soon, her tone became cheerful again. There are only a few days left until New Year. You guys should be coming back soon, right? I've missed Auntie's pork rib soup so much. Chapter 21. That spring festival 4 or 5 years ago was especially miserable for Willow. Her mother forced her to go look for her father, hoping that during such an important holiday, he might rediscover even the tiniest shred of conscience or family affection. Naturally, Willow refused. Her mother cried and screamed while smashing the house into chaos. Against the festive atmosphere of families happily celebrating the new year all around them, the scene felt unbearably bleak. Surrounded by neighbors watching the drama unfold, Willow only felt as though the ground beneath her feet was burning hot with humiliation. She pushed through the crowd and ran away. My parents shook their heads and sighed. The sins of adults always end up making the children suffer. My mom told me to go find her, saying that during New Year's, nothing bad could be allowed to happen. When I found her, I bought a steaming hot roasted sweet potato, soft and dripping with syrup inside, and we split it in half together. On the way back, I never mentioned anything about her family. Instead, I simply asked her, do you like pork ribs? She nodded. Yeah. When you eat leafy vegetables, do you prefer the leaves or the stems? The leaves. I smiled. I like the stems. Perfect timing then. My mom's making pork rib vegetable soup tonight. I'll eat the stems, and you can eat the leaves. Nothing goes to waste. Okay. From that year onward, every spring festival, Willow would come to my house early to wish my family a happy new year, then stay for a lively meal together. Even now, she had never once broken that habit. Chapter 22. The next day, our vacation ended, and we flew home around noon. The moment I landed, I posted a WeChat status visible only to Makoto. The content was simple. A photo taken at the airport with just 2 words attached. Back home. I believed he understood exactly what I meant. That evening, Willow only found out I had returned after calling me. She sounded excited, but also slightly hurt as she complained. How come you didn't even tell me you were back? Half an hour later, she arrived downstairs at my house. In her hands were several bags of New Year gifts. There were cosmetics and skincare products prepared for my mother, as well as several boxes of expensive tea for my father. Standing at the doorway, she greeted them obediently and politely. Uncle, Auntie, Happy Early New Year. But unlike before, my mom didn't warmly invite her inside. Instead, she rejected the gifts politely yet distantly. Willow, these things are too expensive. We can't accept them. Willow's smile froze instantly. Her face filled with shock. She looked toward me silently mouthing, "What's wrong?" I shook my head, just about to speak, when her phone suddenly rang. As if determined to make sure Willow answered, the person on the other end quickly hung up after being ignored. Then several WeChat notifications popped up one after another. Immediately afterward, the phone started ringing again. "Just answer it," I urged her. It must be something urgent. The entire room was filled with the constant noise from her phone. Willow set down the gifts in her hands and pressed her lips together. "Uncle, Auntie, I'm really sorry. I need to answer this call." She glanced at the caller ID and immediately rejected it. But after quickly scanning the WeChat messages, visible panic spread across her face. Even the tip of her nose began sweating. She hurriedly said, "Uncle, Auntie, I'm really sorry. Something urgent came up at home. I'll properly come visit and wish you a happy New Year tomorrow." Then she gestured toward me, signaling that she'd call me later tonight, before hurriedly turning around and leaving in a panic. I picked up the gifts she brought and followed her outside. "Willow." I stopped her and pushed the gifts back into her hands. "Take them back. My parents won't accept them." Willow looked deeply hurt. With a pitiful expression, she said aggrievedly, "I knew Uncle and Auntie were acting strange. What exactly happened?" Just as she was about to say something else, the incoming call ringtone started blaring again like a relentless death notice. My tone became firm. "Willow, don't make this difficult for me. Didn't you say there's an emergency at home? Go already." Willow looked at me helplessly. "George, whatever happens, we can solve it together. Okay. Then. I'll come back and find you later tonight. All right." Chapter 23. That night, Willow never came back. The only thing that arrived was another provocative message from Makoto. "Stop waiting. She's with me right now." Attached was a side profile photo of Willow. Then he added, "She's already tired of your childhood sweetheart storyline. The whole toxic love enemies to lovers script she has with me is way more exciting." For the first time, I replied to him expressionlessly, "She's just trash. If you enjoy collecting garbage, then keep her." Makoto instantly exploded in anger. "George, don't act like you're something special. Who the hell are you pretending to be? Just wait." And sure enough, the next day, he didn't disappoint me at all. He continuously updated me in real time about their date. The first photo, the two of them sharing a roasted sweet potato. Caption, "What era is this? Taking a girl out to eat this stuff." Negative review. The second photo, Willow hugging a stuffed doll Makoto had won for her, smiling brightly. Caption, "I'd just buy her the whole claw machine directly." Negative review. The third photo, a pair of movie tickets. Caption, "I usually take her to private theaters, so this plan still gets a negative review." He recreated the anniversary date Willow and I once had, then smugly handed out 3 negative reviews like some arrogant critic. Adults are supposed to take responsibility for their own choices, so I accepted those 3 negative reviews as punishment for misjudging someone so badly. I smiled faintly. The new year was about leaving the old behind and welcoming the new. And today, everything would finally end completely. I waited outside the movie theater exit. Willow and Makoto blended into the crowd pouring out after the screening ended. Makoto affectionately tried draping his coat over Willow's shoulders, but almost instinctively, Willow shifted slightly to avoid his hand. Makoto's expression darkened immediately. He lowered his voice and muttered something. Only then did Willow reluctantly allow him to pull her into his arms. I walked over. Raising a hand casually, I greeted them. "Hey, Willow." Willow's body instantly stiffened. All the color drained from her face. It was as though she had seen some terrifying monster. Makoto, meanwhile, wasn't surprised at all. Every single message he sent me included their location on purpose. Also, I would witness this exact moment. The smugness in his eyes was impossible to hide as he tightly wrapped an arm around Willow. "Top student George, long time no see." Only after several frozen seconds did Willow finally snap back to reality. She shoved Makoto away violently. Voice trembling, she stammered, "Hubby, I waved a hand dismissively and gestured toward the nearby cafe. "Don't stand here blocking traffic. It's embarrassing." The way I looked at both of them was filled with nothing but disgust and cold contempt. That light, casual sentence seemed to completely crush Willow. Her eyes instantly turned red. Her body trembled as she shoved Makoto away once again when he tried approaching her. "Get away from me." Makoto finally lost his temper too. His teeth clenched so hard they audibly ground together. Slowly, word by word, he said, "You're telling me to get lost." Willow clenched her fists, about to speak, but I lowered my face and cut her off coldly. My voice suddenly sharper. I said, "We'll talk in the cafe. All three of us. Don't make me repeat myself a third time." Chapter 24. Under my insistence. Our bizarre trio walked into the cafe together. Makoto lifted his chin arrogantly and hurried to sit down first, putting on a show of confidence. I sat across from him. Just as Willow tried sitting beside me, I raised a hand and pointed toward the opposite side. "You sit over there too." Willow's chest rose and fell rapidly, her breathing uneven. She slammed her bag onto the table, eyes reddening as she demanded, "George, what exactly are you trying to do?" I ignored her completely. Calmly, I called over the waiter and ordered 3 coffees. After the waiter left, Willow finally seemed to calm down slightly. She looked at me almost pleadingly. "George, it's not what you think." I raised a finger to my lips, signaling her to stay quiet. Then I looked at Makoto and smiled faintly. "We actually haven't been apart that long. I saw you twice recently. The matching couple jackets you two wore on the day of the first snow looked pretty good together. And at the bar gathering too. You spent so much money only to leave empty-handed in the end. Really sorry about making you waste all that cash." This time, even Makoto froze. Willow stared at me in disbelief. Her whole body shook violently, her expression collapsing completely. Every excuse she prepared, every last bit of wishful thinking she clung to, all shattered in that instant. She wanted to desperately explain herself. Why she rushed away yesterday. Why she was with Makoto again today. How Makoto threatened her. How she didn't want any of this. How she never meant for things to become like this. But in the end, all those countless explanations condensed into one broken sentence. You actually saw everything. I deserve to die. I really deserve to die." Supporting herself against the table with both elbows, she painfully grabbed at her hair as her voice gradually choked with sobs. When she finally raised her head again, her eyes were completely red, tears streaming down her face. Makoto stared at me viciously and said coldly, "Since you already know everything, then Willow and I." Willow immediately screamed for him to shut up. Then she turned back toward me frantically, speaking faster and faster in panic. "George, whether you believe me or not, I never actually liked him. I admit it, I was greedy for his money. I couldn't let go of the luxury and vanity, but I never once thought about breaking up with you. Please, just give me one more chance. I swear I'll cut him off completely." Makoto's expression turned terrifyingly dark. Something twisted flickered in his eyes, possessiveness, obsession, maybe both. Grinding his teeth, he snarled viciously. "You think after spending my money, you can just walk away whenever you want?" The moment he finished speaking, Willow ripped off the necklace on the spot. Then she shoved her handbag and phone toward him all at once. Her tears fell even harder now, her voice trembling uncontrollably. "I don't want any of it anymore. And all the other things you gave me, I can return them too. I don't want any of it anymore. Okay." In the past, seeing Willow cry like this would have shattered my heart beyond repair. But now, she was crying, begging desperately, pleading for forgiveness after betraying me, and all I felt was numb indifference, even a twisted sense of satisfaction, like revenge finally landing. So I said coldly, "Willow, are you seriously this pathetic?" Willow froze completely. She stared at me blankly, as if unable to comprehend that I could ever say something so cruel to her. After a brief pause, I continued, "Makoto humiliated you countless times back then. He embarrassed you so badly you couldn't even hold your head up in class. And yet you still ended up getting all lovey-dovey with him. You really are unbelievably pathetic. I seriously regret ever fighting for you." Hearing those words, Willow completely broke down. I stood up slowly, expression utterly emotionless. "Willow, we're done. Don't ever appear in front of me again." Then I glanced toward Makoto. "And you, Makoto, the trash is yours now. No need to thank me." Chapter 25. After everything completely fell apart, I blocked every possible way for them to contact me. Using an unknown number, Willow sent me one final message. "George, no matter what happened, Uncle and Auntie were always so good to me. Please just let me come wish them a happy new year." I sneered coldly. "I already told them about you and Makoto. I don't think they want to see you either. They're probably just like me now, regretting every single meal they ever made for you." Winter break passed quickly. Soon, the second semester of junior year began. Schoolwork became increasingly busy, yet Willow and Makoto still found ways to make my life miserable from time to time. Willow came to H City almost 3 or 4 times a week, refusing to stop pestering me, and unbelievably, Makoto followed her there several times too. The two of them even started arguing right downstairs outside my dorm building. My roommate stared out the window in disbelief. Have these two completely lost their minds? Eventually, Willow realized that continuing like this would only make me hate her even more. At last, she stopped showing up. Makoto, however, kept causing trouble, using different accounts non-stop. He spammed me with unhinged messages. George, you bastard. What the hell do you even have to be proud of? Your girlfriend still cheated on you and put horns on your head anyway. Ha ha ha. Let me tell you something, I know where your cafeteria is, where your dorm is, every route you take to the library. You better watch yourself. One of these days, you might not live to see tomorrow's sun. Without hesitation, I took screenshots and went straight to the police, reporting him for criminal intimidation. Later, his mother came begging me in person to let her son off the hook. I refused. Auntie, instead of persuading me, maybe you should persuade your son to obey the law. I heard that while he was attending a large lecture in one of the tiered classrooms, the police showed up and took him away right in front of the entire department. He instantly became famous across the whole university, a complete laughingstock and everyone's favorite gossip topic. After getting out of the police station, Makoto went to find Willow. When she refused to get back together with him, he demanded she return all the money he had spent on her. Willow laughed mockingly. What's given to me belongs to me. Since when do people ask for gifts back after giving them away? And seriously, how have you still not learned your lesson? I'm warning you, if you keep harassing me, I won't hesitate to call the police again and send you back for round 2. Makoto exploded in rage. He punched Willow directly in the face and cursed viciously. You gold-digging bitch. And just like that, Makoto ended up back in the police station once again. Chapter 26. After successfully sending Makoto Ito into the police station again, Willow seemed to think she had regained control of everything. She even told me that this time, she would be the one chasing after me. To my ears, it sounded no different from meaningless barking. Fortunately, she soon became too overwhelmed to keep bothering me, because Willow had sent Makoto Ito to the police. The Ito family completely turned against her. Not only did they take legal action demanding she return the money and gifts, they also exposed everything she had done throughout the university. The scandal became so overwhelming that Willow was eventually forced to suspend her studies. Before going back home, she came to see me one last time. This time, I went downstairs to meet her. We hadn't seen each other for only a month. Yet she already looked exhausted and haggard beyond recognition. The moment she realized I was willing to see her, a faint light flickered back into her lifeless eyes. Carefully, almost timidly, she looked at me and said, "That day, you left too quickly." There were so many things I never got the chance to say. I really never liked Makoto, but someone who once looked down on me suddenly started flattering me, pampering me, even throwing absurd amounts of money at me, and I just lost myself. I already cut ties with all those fake friends too. I completely severed myself from that entire social circle. I listened quietly without saying anything. She continued softly. George, I've decided to drop out and retake the college entrance exams. Can you wait for me 1 year? I promise I'll get into C University. I shook my head. If you want to get into C University because of me, then there's no need. My Heidelberg master's application has already been accepted. Even if she managed to get into C University, by then, I would already be overseas pursuing further studies. Realizing there was truly no possibility of us getting back together anymore, Willow sniffled, her voice trembling. We promised we'd stay together forever. I can't accept this. I shook my head again. School makes people believe they're all walking the same road together. But Willow, we were never really the same kind of people. We just happened to stop at the same red light for a while. Now that the light had turned green, it was time for everyone to go their separate ways. Willow, goodbye. And after that, I heard Willow discovered she was pregnant. Just like what happened to her mother all those years ago. Makoto's father only said one thing: abort it. The Ito family would never acknowledge that child.